Today's episode is brought to you by Acorn Hills Clothing Company. Sustainable clothing, biodegradable packaging, tree planted for every purchase, and a percentage of their sales donated to charities.
Yeah, and that's not even the best part. They give you these plantable clothing tags with every purchase. Pretty much greatest idea ever.
That
You
is
scan
awesome.
the QR code right here for planting instructions. So make sure you go to www.acornhillsco.com and use Brews15. That is BREWS15 at checkout, 15% off, and have your tree planted today.
Yes, don't forget to use our code Bruce15 at checkout for 15% off. This is one you don't want to miss, guys.
We'll see if your predictions say otherwise.
Yeah, that's right. Well, those are our brews, man. Let's get to the banter. Let's start with just the top of Group A, shall we, in the
Yep.
Champions League?
Get
So,
through these groups, man. See how
yes.
we did with our predictions.
So this one had Bayern Munich, Copenhagen, Galatasaray, Manchester United. And that's how it finished. Bayern, Copenhagen, Galatasaray, United. Our picks weren't terrible, I will say. So out of the whole group stage of the Champions League, we only missed 2 teams
Wow.
between the
And
two of us
I
that
assume
advanced.
this is one of
This
them
is one of
right
them.
here.
It was Copenhagen. Neither you or I picked Copenhagen to advance.
I mean, if anyone picked Copenhagen, I mean, props to you, but you're like throwing shit at a wall and hoping it sticks.
That was pretty much it. My picks were Bayern Munich, Manchester United, Galatasaray. I picked Copenhagen to finish last.
Yeah, I mean, mine were Bayern, Galatasaray, Man United, and Copenhagen finishing dead last. I don't think anyone expected Manchester United to finish dead last in this group.
So not only did they finish dead last in this group, they were the worst English team in the competition and
Yeah,
conceded
they were
15
bad.
goals, second
bad.
most in the group stage behind Antwerp. They were the only ones that conceded more. So United were absolutely garbage in the Champions League. Garbage. They didn't do anything, man.
No.
And it was all about really the rise of Copenhagen. And honestly, they looked good in their performances. They played lovely football. I love their away jerseys too, that black and blue. So not bad. Hopefully we get to see that one more time.
I mean, their home jerseys are pretty good too, the white and blue. So,
and then of course we picked Bayern to finish top. They did. They were perfect. Didn't lose a game.
I mean, how many years has it been since they lost a group stage game? Something stupid.
It was something stupid like that. Like they hadn't lost a group stage game in I forget how many games. It was, I think in the teens.
Yeah, in years maybe. I think it's like 60 something games. I don't know.
Crazy.
Anyways, long time. Yeah, Copenhagen coming through narrowly on the final day. Galatasaray staying in the Europa League. But man, I mean, this whole group is the story of the rise of Copenhagen. It really is.
It really, yeah, it was. It was. And with the squad Galatasaray had, did they underperform? Or is that, I mean, I guess not for me. I expected them to go in the Europa League. No,
it's hard for them. I was, and I picked them to, get to the knockout stages, but it's hard for me to say they underperformed when Manchester United is also in the same group.
And they just did so
and
bad.
They were worse. So if Manchester United underperformed, then what do you say of Galatasaray? I mean, I wouldn't say they underperformed. Maybe they didn't get a couple of results that they should have, but okay, yeah, both of them underperformed. I mean, I expect them to do much better than finish 1 point ahead of one of the worst teams in the Champions League this season. So
that's the Group A. That's the way it finished.
All right.
Let's move on to Group B, where we had Arsenal, PSV, Lens, Sevilla, and it finished in that order. And we got them.
One off, man. Yeah. Almost had this perfect.
Almost had it perfect. So we both picked Sevilla. So we picked Arsenal, PSV, Sevilla, Lens, both of us. And yeah, Sevilla, man, reigning Europa League champs of Europe altogether. They'd like to go to their to their home. Didn't want to go to their home, though, into the Europa League.
Yeah, cue the Happy Gilmore right now.
Wow. You got that.
You don't want to go to your home? Get in your home. Yeah, and they didn't even finish close.
No.
Well,
They finished the group stage with 2 points. So pretty bad.
It was.
I will say, Lens surprised me quite a bit. They got that big win against Arsenal in France.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they'll cause some teams some problems in Europa League, so I'm glad they're still in Europe. Sevilla, I mean, they've been bad both in the Champions League and La Liga this season, so.
They have La Liga, they're not doing the best. Where are they at in La Liga? They're in 16th in La Liga. So not playing well.
Yeah.
Just a point above relegation there.
Yep. I think everybody expected Arsenal to finish top of this group. PSV's been on fire this season. I mean, they're running away with the Eredivisie. Finished second in this group, 1 point ahead of Lens. I mean, it was a toss-up between those two teams.
It was.
Whoever got the result on the final day, and it was PSV that did. So,
yeah, PSV, they got the draw against Arsenal on that final day
to get them through. So, good on them. They're going to cause some teams some problems, and we'll see when we get to our predictions if they will cause Dortmund some problems.
So, one player to keep your open on for Lens is that striker, man.
Eli Wahi.
Yeah, Wahi.
Yeah.
He's looking like
and then for PSV, man, Johan Bakayoko, he is a stud. He is so exciting to watch. I'm excited to see him in the knockout rounds.
I'm guessing he doesn't stay at PSV long.
No, I don't think so either.
Okay, let's move on to Group C. This one was Real Madrid, Napoli, Union Berlin, and Braga. So this one, it finished Real Madrid, Napoli, Braga, Union Berlin.
Yeah. And how you said it first is how we both predicted it. I mean, no one predicted Union Berlin to be that bad this season. I mean, by the time they got knocked out of the Champions League, they'd lost what was it, like 13, 14 games in a row?
Something like that. Yeah, they were doing terrible. They finished this group with 2 points. With only 6 goals for. So, I mean, they did not do well. Honestly, I was a bit surprised they didn't put up more of a fight, but like you said, that's kind of how they've been going all season. I mean, even in the Bundesliga, they're just hovering above relegation in the Bundesliga. Which, if you heard on a previous episode, I did say they would get out of relegation by New Year's, and they did. And here they are above it.
You did.
Not doing well, but still above relegation.
I mean, really, that's all that matters at this point.
Yes.
So, got to get out of it before you can get higher in the table. So,
but I mean, we both expected Real Madrid, Napoli to make it out of this group. They did. Got the job done.
I mean, both teams are way too good to not make it out of this group. But I mean, good on Braga for putting up a fight, at least for a little bit. They were fun to watch.
They were.
And not to mention, they probably have the most beautiful stadium. Yes, the most beautiful stadium in all of the Champions League. Holy cow, is that a view?
It has that beautiful rock wall. Yeah.
Really?
But I would go so far to say that Union Berlin, for me, were probably the most disappointing team in the Champions League, in the group stage.
Okay.
They played just terrible. They couldn't beat Braga with a man up for 60 minutes.
Yeah.
That's terrible, man. When you're a man up and you can't beat a team for 60 minutes, Braga came back and scored.
Yeah, I mean, Sevilla and Manchester United will give that a run for its money, and for me, it's probably Sevilla.
Okay. I mean, they finished with the same points. Both finished, Sevilla and Union Berlin finished with 2 points.
Yeah, Sevilla with only 1 more goal scored, 2 more goals against. But again, both extremely disappointing.
Yeah, especially
no one expected that.
Especially with how they played last year.
Oh God, they were so fun to watch. This year, not at all.
Not so much. All right, let's move on to Group D. We had Real Sociedad, Inter Milan, Benfica, and RB Salzburg finishing in that order. Got Real Sociedad right. I picked Inter, Real Sociedad, Benfica, and RB Salzburg. I just about got it 100%. Just flip flopped Inter and Sociedad.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't think anyone would have predicted Sociedad to get first place in that group.
Predicted second, but not
You
first.
did. You did. I don't think anyone predicted first. I mean, I picked Benfica. Okay. So I take back what I said probably like 2 minutes ago for most disappointing team. It's definitely Benfica.
I mean, they're in the Europa League.
It's still, they were bad, man.
They finished with
they were
4 points, one
yeah.
win.
The only reason they made it into the Europa League is through head to head with RB Salzburg.
Yeah.
Or goals for one of the two, because they tied on points and they both were bad. So I don't know. This group baffled me.
Not me, man.
Good on Real Sociedad. I got this one, almost completely wrong, except for Salzburg finishing last. So
I knew Sociedad would be a tough team, man. They play well. They went undefeated in this group for one, and they had the best defense in the group stage. But even just watching them in La Liga playing Barcelona, I will say lately they've been a little lackluster in La Liga, man. Only one win in their last 5. So they're worrying me a little bit, but we'll see how they do in the Champions League. We'll get to them in the group stage, or in the knockout stage.
Knockout stage, yeah. Inter were impressive as always.
Yes, yes, they were.
They expected them to get out of this group. Benfica for me, man. They were so bad. They were so bad. And I think finishing in third with 4 points doesn't do justice how bad they were. Like, they got away with it a little bit. At least they're still in the Europa League. But I would be amazed if they got out of the next round of the Europa League, to be honest with you.
Well, we'll see who they play. All right. Group E.
I know you're excited. I know you're excited to talk about this one.
Atletico Madrid, Lazio, Nord, and Celtic is how this one finished. I picked Atletico and Lazio to go through, which they did. I picked Celtic to finish in that Europa League spot, and they did not. Feyenoord nipped them to it. Celtic, man, they were probably pretty disappointing for me as well, but not quite the most disappointing.
For me in this group, because I picked Atletico to go in first, which I think everybody did, but I picked Feyenoord to get out, Lazio to finish in the Europa League spot, Celtic to finish last. You called me crazy for doing that.
Did.
Yeah, I was right on that.
You were
but
right
also
on that.
I want to highlight the collapse of Feyenoord, the second half of the group stage, because at one point I think they were in first place. Never mind, they were not.
No, they lost. Looking at their last 5 games, they lost.
I don't know if that is in the Champions League or if that's in the league, but
Champions League.
Okay.
Out of the 5,
they looked really
games,
good and dangerous. Atletico barely beat them.
They played exciting football. I'll give you that. They were fun to watch.
And then Lazio, man, with two games against them. I think they lost to them the second time around, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember. I'll look.
Yeah, I believe so.
Anyways, Feyenoord were one of the most exciting teams. I was all about them, and then they crumbled. So they were disappointing for me. But they got some good players, some exciting youngsters. There seems to be a lot of really, really good young players coming through in the Champions League and throughout Europe. It's crazy, which is great for pretty much every big team.
Yes.
And some of the smaller ones. But
so one of the things that happened in this group is probably one of my favorite moments from the group stages. It was Lazio goalkeeper Provedel scoring the late goal.
Was that against Feyenoord?
I don't remember who it was against. I just remember going nuts seeing that. That was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, Feyenoord beat Lazio match day 3. So, and then lost 1-0 to Lazio match day 4. Where is it?
Either way, man, they were fun. Lazio. I figured they'd get out of this group. The end of last season in Serie A, they were finishing strong. They finished second last year in Serie A. They're slipping this in Serie A right now. They're currently in 7th. I had a feeling they'd make it through. And I mean, poor pick for Celtic. I don't know what to say about them. That was just garbage by me.
I got nothing for a team that continuously dominates their domestic league. They were fun to watch at times, but they're so frustrating. So frustrating. So.
And Atletico, second best goal differential in the group stages.
Yeah. I mean, they're going to be a force come the knockout stages. Diego Simeone's got him purring right now. It's fun to watch. And then we got the Madrid derby coming up too. So we'll see how they do against Real Madrid here soon.
They spanked them last time.
Mm-hmm.
In La Liga.
So.
All right, well, let's move on to our favorite group. The group
of death, friend. Get it. This one was nuts. Nuts. Did not disappoint as group of death.
No, it did not. Not at all. I mean, it came down to the final day for the teams.
Yeah. And this was the other one that we got wrong.
This was. It was. So this group finished Borussia Dortmund, PSG, AC Milan, and Newcastle in that order. And neither of us picked Dortmund to make it to the next round. My picks were PSG, AC Milan, Newcastle, and Dortmund.
As were mine. So, yeah, Newcastle finishing last in that group. I mean, I feel bad for them because towards the end there, it's when the injuries started piling up. They weren't doing great in the Premier League. You could tell. I mean, after that win against PSG, everything just kind of went downhill from there. So,
I mean, Dortmund showing, man, experience means something in the Champions League. They're a team that's perennially in the knockout stages.
Yeah.
And they showed why.
They thrashed Milan. Wasn't it like 3-0 at one point?
I don't remember that. I remember they got a win at Newcastle. At
yeah,
St. James's
I do
Park.
remember that.
I believe they lost their first game to PSG.
They beat Milan 3-1 at the San Siro. They beat Newcastle 2-0 at home. Beat Newcastle 1-0 at St. James's Park.
They got a draw against PSG in the last game.
Draw against Milan in the first leg. And then lost to PSG in the first round. So yeah, is that 3-1 win against Milan, man? That really set them up for success in this group, and I mean it's pretty much the reason why AC Milan didn't jump above PSG in goal difference. So,
because this was close. So Dortmund had 11 points, PSG and Milan both had 8 points, and then Newcastle with 5.
Yeah, I mean, PSG I think went through with goals 4, which is 9-5 with Milan. But yeah, I mean, karma's a bitch, ain't it?
As an Arsenal
Newcastle
fan says,
yeah. Been saying it all season. However, that game is quickly approaching as well. We'll see if karma really is the thing. But I just feel bad for Newcastle because they played well in this group stage and didn't pull through.
They played well in this group stage? What game? 1, 2 games they played well?
Yeah, I think when they lost to Dortmund 1-0, they played pretty well.
They lost to Milan on the last day.
Yeah, that's when they fell apart.
I would say their only good game was the first one against PSG.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that had a lot to do with PSG underestimating them, and then the just sheer amount of energy of them returning to the Champions League for the first time in what was it, like 12 years, something like
And then I
that.
guess you
So,
could say also the PSG match in Paris where they drew due to that
yeah.
late penalty. Yeah, that we can both agree was probably bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Karma.
Karma. But yeah, I mean, this group was nuts. I mean, there was what 3 different teams that led this group at one point.
Yes, there was. Trying to predict it was a nightmare.
Nightmare. And so eventually we were gonna miss out on one. So
Yeah, we were.
I'm glad it was Dortmund. I'll just say that.
Let's get to a group that we got 100% right. This
Kind of
was
difficult not to get it right, but okay.
yeah. Manchester City, RB Leipzig, Young Boys, and Red Star Belgrade or Crvena Zvezda. Finishing in that order. Picked it: City, Leipzig, Young Boys, Red Star.
Yeah. No surprise. City most goals scored.
Yes, they did.
Not a surprise, but I
You're
mean,
playing the likes of Young Boys and Red
Yeah.
Star. I mean, even that last game, or the last 2 games, they sat out some of their players, played some youngsters. They were still scoring goals.
Yeah. And I'll be good on Leipzig for putting up a fight. I mean, they were up 2-0 at halftime against City. I think that was that at Etihad Stadium, or is that in Leipzig?
I don't remember where it was at, which game you're talking about, because I remember looking at it on my phone because I was watching one of the other games going, holy crap, can Leipzig do this? And then
Yeah.
no, they could.
No,
They went in at halftime and said, go win, so they did.
Yeah, that was match day 5. Yeah, they scored 3 goals in the second half to win 3-2. But
Let me guess, Erling Haaland scored one of them.
yeah, 100%. It was a penalty. Go figure. But Xavi Simons, man, and I was high on him last season for PSV. Who knew he was just
only up, man? His
100%.
Boom, boom, boom!
I will
through
say,
the roof.
for all of the bad business PSG does, re-signing him for $5 million is a great piece of business. Whether or not he actually plays for them is a different story altogether. They'll at least make a hefty profit off of that fight. But some golazos from him, man.
Oh, a couple, yeah.
From the dirt.
From dirt.
Yeah, and then, Red Star Belgrade or Crvena Zvezda, worst team competition. So,
yeah, they finished with a whopping 1 point. They had 1 draw against Young Boys. I will say the last game against City, they put up a bit of a fight.
They did. Which, when one team has everything to play for and the other one has literally nothing to play for.
Literally nothing, and is playing a bunch of teenagers.
Yeah, it's going to happen. So,
but they still didn't win. All right, let's get to the last group, man. Group H. This one finished with Barcelona, Porto, Shakhtar Donetsk, and Antwerp in that order. And guess what? We also got this one 100% right.
Yeah, another group that, although it did actually have some surprises in this one.
Barcelona almost making a hatch of it.
Yeah, it's hard not to get this one right.
Well, look at the points. So Barca and Porto both finished with 12 points, Shakhtar with 9, and Antwerp with 3.
So it was kind of all over the place.
It was, it doesn't look close now, but during that last match day, it was close.
It was. Yeah. It was between Shakhtar and Porto who was going to go through.
And Porto win. They beat Barca, and Shakhtar lost to Antwerp.
Yeah, which was probably the most surprising result, I would say.
A little bit.
Yeah. Especially, with the way Shakhtar played in the game previous against Barcelona. They ran them off the park.
Yeah, Barcelona, we can chat about them for a minute. They've had some struggles this season. I don't think they'll last long in this competition, if I'm being honest with you. We've already seen what they're doing in La Liga. Not going to win La Liga.
Xavi stepping down at the end of the season. Got to
Yep.
go back to our last episode to see what we said about that.
Yep. Make sure you check that out on our YouTube channel. Make sure to subscribe, like. Go ahead and leave a comment. Who you think might be the next Barcelona manager?
Yeah. A lot of rumors swirling around.
Let us know on our Instagram, Brews FC, on our TikTok, Brews Banter FC. You guys are missing out if you're on those things.
Yep. We're back.
Back and better than ever.
Come at us. Let's go. All right, buddy. So this is the point where, we kind of have everything to talk about, right? Like we had the team and the player of the group stage. There's a lot of players that could, or teams that could be your
best,
the
your
cream
favorite.
of the crop of the group stage. There's a lot of standout performers, a lot of teams that really surprised. Who's your team of the group stage?
So there were some good teams. Don't get me wrong. Like Feyenoord did impress. Obviously, Dortmund finishing top of the group of death. That's impressive. Sociedad, also very impressive. But how, man? It has to be for me, or even Copenhagen. They were impressive, but I'm going with Sociedad. They went undefeated in the group, conceded only 2 goals, and finished top ahead of Inter Milan.
Yep.
Benfica.
It's very impressive. Very impressive.
I mean, we saw what Benfica did in the Champions League last year, making it to they made it to the semis.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure.
Losing to Inter.
Yep, they lost to Inter.
Yeah.
And so I know you were still kind of flying high on them, even though they had lost their best striker, Gonçalo Ramos. But I'm going Real Sociedad, man. Best defense. Defense wins you tournaments. Do I think they'll win this? Probably not.
No.
But
that
it got them out of the
group
shout. Stage. It got the group stage, that defense.
It's a very good shout. Yeah, I find it hard to argue against you. I really do. And because of that, I had to go with the ultimate surprise of the group stage as my team of the group stage in Copenhagen.
A Danish team. I mean, it was between them or Copenhagen for me.
Me too. You took one. I'd take the other. Fine. I mean, no one expect them to go through. I mean, they were probably in what would have been considered the second hardest group.
I mean,
with Galatasaray, Manchester United, beginning of the season on paper, maybe.
Yeah, on paper, especially with the players that Galatasaray has.
Yeah. And then, I got to give a shout out to Manchester United for being the most underperforming team in the Champions League that I have seen in a long time. How to be joint top goal scorers in a group and finish last.
Well, when you concede that many goals, it's tough.
Yeah. And then to get knocked out by a guy named Rooney.
That was funny.
Manchester United. And it also looks like they bought the wrong Højlund.
Because his brother plays for Copenhagen. That's hilarious.
So,
although Højlund did score some goals in this Champions League.
He did. And I saw some crazy stat about Højlund that of his, what is it? It's 8 goals he scored this season.
Only 2 of them were assisted.
Got it. Yeah. So he's a workhorse and he's got to create things himself because United are that bad. So at least United fans, you have a little bit of hope in Rasmus Højlund. I do rate him highly as a player. He's fantastic. Just you got nobody around him.
Young and raw also.
Yes.
I think I mentioned my worst team. I go with Union Berlin.
I mean, there's a lot.
There were some, yeah.
There was a lot more underperformers than teams that were really a surprise in the Champions League. So,
honestly, PSG, I feel like really underperformed in the group stage.
We'll get to that in a little bit.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah. All right, Targo. Player of the group stage. I know there's a lot of really good players. This one was a lot harder.
This one was tough.
The teams.
This was tough because Xavi Simons.
Yep.
Well, I always say it wrong, man. Simons. Okay. I mean, Colossos galore. Bakayoko for PSV. To go with him, man.
Yep.
For those on the podcast, you can't see. I'm doing a celebration.
I can back up.
There you go. Mr. Jude Bellingham.
Hey, Jude.
4 goals, 3 assists in 5 games, and game winners against Braga and Union Berlin.
Yeah, man, he's coming from Dortmund, and he's making things look easy at Real Madrid.
What
And we've
pressure?
said that multiple
What pressure
times.
wearing that
What
white
pressure?
jersey, man?
He is, and I hate to say this because Vinny Jr. is in the same squad. He might be the best player at Real Madrid. And it's been, what, 6 months, 7 months since they signed him?
Yeah, this summer.
Yeah. He's that good. I can't believe how much better he has gotten in the last year. It's insane.
It is. He's taking that Real Madrid role and just ran with it, man.
This guy's still a teenager.
I think he's 20 now.
Is he 20 now? Okay, well, for the majority of this, he was a teenager. It's insane. The ceiling this guy has. And the fact that he's 20. He's still got a solid 10 to 15 years ahead of him. And he's this good right now. Imagine how good he is in 5, 6, 7 years.
I don't know how good he's 20 now.
Just saying.
It's going to be nuts with him. How things proceed. Even when Real Madrid get a striker, if they bring Kylian Mbappe, it's going to be nuts to see what happens with him.
We'll see in the summer. That's for later things.
That is for later.
For later, Targo and Redbeard to figure out. Don't worry about that. All right, for me, it's got to be Galeno from Porto, man. This guy had 4 goals and 4 assists in 5 matches.
Nuts, man. Absolutely nuts.
Nuts. Not to mention, he's electric on the ball. The guy is just dribbling past players. He'll hold the ball up, accelerate past them. So exciting to watch. And probably, to be honest with you, kind of came out of nowhere.
Brazilian, man.
Yeah. One of the few players left that truly can think on his own and is not a tactical player. Jude Bellingham's one of them as well. But it's a dying art in today's society of football. Very few left, so I would be surprised if he stays at Porto very much longer.
I will say he tore up the Champions League. Hasn't been tearing it up so much in Liga Portugal. But still, this is a Champions League episode. He killed it there. So I can't argue with your, especially with the stats. Look at how many goals and assists in just 5 games. Nuts.
I think he's got the most goal contributions in the Champions League so far. So. Okay. Just one ahead of your boy.
Just one, yep.
Just one.
All right, well,
and
let's see.
I think Erling Haaland's right behind him.
Probably pretty close.
Let us know on our YouTube channel if you like and subscribe to the notification bell. Our Instagram, Brews FC. Go check it out. Let us know there. Our new TikTok, Brews Banter FC. Make sure you check out our Facebook and our Facebook page. Let us know. That is our Champions League recap. For now, we'll see you on the other side during the knockout stage.